Time for a bombshell Hannity watch on the deep state tonight. This takes a lot of explaining. We're going to make it very understandable, break it down for you. It's the abuse of power, corruption. Remember, we've been telling you all about this. It is tonight far worse than we have ever known up until this point. We now know top people within the FBI filled with hatred and, frankly, anti-Trump rage have put aside all values and their blatant political bias. Were seeking redemption for the firing of James Comey. They actually plotted to destroy your duly elected president, and this goes way beyond what we already knew up until this point. Now, according to this report, Friday, New York Times, as usual, anonymous sources, 2 days after Comey was unceremoniously terminated, several top FBI officials actually questioned whether or not President Trump was working directly for Russia. Now, they did this without a single shred of evidence, zero probable cause, zero proof of any collusion. It was a witch hunt. The president's been right from day one. They opened an investigation into whether or not Russia directed the president to fire their beloved Trump hater, James Comey. Now, this despite Comey's testimony that there was no evidence of collusion. For 9 months, they had been looking into this, and that Trump was not the target of his investigation. Remember, even Comey, the Trump hater that he is, admitted that the president could fire him for any reason. Nobody in the media seems to want to tell you that. Now, Congressman John Ratcliffe told our own Catherine Herridge, quote, in May of 2017, political bias infected senior FBI leadership and emotion, not evidence, drove their decision-making. Now, his closed-door interview with the former FBI counsel, James Baker, revealed this. This is important, quote, FBI senior leadership could not accept that Comey was fired for cause, and the president had the constitutional authority to terminate Comey. So they begin the witch hunt, which had already started 9 months earlier. Now, President Trump's former attorney, John Dowd, has called the FBI's anti-Trump operations a political coup. Watch this.
Little did I know that it appears that they were all in it together. I mean, Rosenstein, Comey, Mueller, McCabe, the whole crowd. And that they were out to get this president no matter what. I don't think they sincerely believed anything about Russia. This is our worst nightmare, that someone with that kind of power would then decide to go after the president. I mean, it's a coup. That's what it's an attempted coup by Comey and his crowd. And the evidence is all now there. I take the New York Times article as an admission of their bad behavior.
Admission of corruption and abuse of power by people that are unchecked, a bureaucracy unto itself, unlimited powers, no accountability. Is any of this good for America? Did these deep state officials that we have been just uncovering now for nearly 2 years, did they do anything other, these top officials, than hate the president? And are you really surprised? Remember, these are the same bureaucrats. They openly rooted for Hillary Clinton to win the election. Peter Strzok texting that Hillary Clinton should win 100 million to 0. And, of course, said all those horrible things about the president. The same officials who wrote an exoneration in May of 2016, months before actually interviewing Hillary and 16 other witnesses in July, before they exonerated her. It was already written, the exoneration, before the investigation. The same people that yawn, we know it is incontrovertible. Hillary Clinton obstructed justice.
Well, if you notice, she's been missing since before Christmas. The little Christmas tweet that they supposedly put out was from 7 or 8 years ago. It showed old Chesty Clinton when she was a lot younger. And old Dumbo has been also missing since before Christmas. Their big Christmas tweet was, Happy Holidays. And the photo that they showed for their Christmas card was from 2 years ago. So these people are MIA right now, and they're in front of military tribunals. Trust me.
Destroyed, subpoenaed emails, 33,000 of them, washed her hard drive with bleach, but smashing smartphones and iPhones with a hammer and taking away SIM cards. The same people who looked the other way when Hillary and the DNC funneled money through Perkins Coie, a law firm, a campaign finance violation, to hire a research firm to hire, Christopher Steele, a foreign national, to give us Russian lies. The same bureaucrats who all but applauded when Clinton's funneled cash used to hire Christopher Steele. Why? To produce a dossier that we now know were full of lies, misinformation, propaganda about President Trump, which we now know today are debunked. The same people who helped disseminate those Russian lies that she paid for to you, the American people, and throughout the highest levels of our government, doing that before an election. So-called trusted officials who used the dossier to defraud a FISA court multiple times to spy on a Trump campaign associate. By the way, fraud before the court. The same people who used that dossier to open up an investigation into Trump. This all has happened. And yeah, a baseless investigation into a president being controlled by Russia is now just par for the course. And the hysteria of the media is even worse. Remember, this was 9 months after they already been investigating so-called collusion. And by 9 months period of time, Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, James Comey, Andrew McCabe, all hate Trump, all said they had nothing. Former Clinton pollster Mark Penn, who recently wrote an op-ed, he points out the blatant unequal justice under the law. Quote, somehow every clear security breach in the Clinton camp was no big deal, while every fourth-hand contact with someone who could possibly be linked to Russia was evidence that Donald Trump was secretly serving as a Russian agent.
And this cunt, Hillary Clinton, sold uranium to the Russians to pad her own bank account. Millions upon millions of dollars. And the liberal sheeple are totally just entranced by this whore. She needs to be brought to justice now.
Now, a former assistant director of intelligence at the FBI is rightly calling out his old colleagues for this massive abuse of power. Take a look.
Are we criminalizing, or are we exercising the authorities, the legitimate authorities of the FBI, to investigate policy differences, to investigate foreign policy stances by an administration? Well, that's not the role of the FBI.
No, it's not. And despite everything we just showed you, the special counsel investigation rolls on. They're not looking into Hillary Clinton, her phony Russian dossier that she paid for. Their focus is singularly on President Trump and everyone around him. However, tonight, at least one so-called journalist from the hate Trump media is trying to play down expectations where people are hyping up every second, every minute, every hour of every day about Trump and Russia and about the Mueller report. Take a look.
What I am getting is that this is all building up to the Mueller report and raising expectations of a bombshell report. And there have been expectations that have been building, of course, for over a year on this. But people who are closest to what Mueller has been doing, have interacted with the special counsel, caution me that this report is almost certain to be anticlimactic.
Anticlimactic. Honestly, I don't trust what you just heard. Given the overwhelming partisan makeup of Mueller's team and their behavior throughout this process, consisting of high-powered Democratic donors and attorneys, mark my words, they have and will continue to destroy the presidency of Donald Trump. They've been doing it now for 2 years, and they did it before the election. Here's the problem. This is what should concern every American tonight. If these deep state actors succeed, forget about free and a fair justice system. It's done. Equal justice under the law, application of our laws, dead in America. Might as well take the Constitution as we know it, shred it, because that's over forever. Never forget the hate Trump Democrats, hate Trump media. They have been tied at the hip the whole time, reporting innuendo, lies, conspiracies daily. Just like last week, remember? We saw the talking point of the Democratic Party regurgitated by their friends in the media. A manufactured crisis at the border. No, people getting killed and drugs crossing our border, that's real. And speaking of which, we continue our Hannity Watch tonight on the government shutdown and the real crisis at our southern border that the media refuses to acknowledge. So with budget negotiations still deadlocked and after nearly 10 whole days on the job, many congressional Democrats, they treated themselves after 10 days to some well-deserved rest and relaxation at an oceanfront luxury resort. And on Friday, Senator Bob Menendez and at least 29 other Democratic lawmakers, they boarded a private jet. Wait a minute. Oh, what about carbon emissions? And went to San Juan, Puerto Rico, where they spent the next few days soaking up the sun right there on the beach. Oh, that's such a nice picture. They're working so hard for we the people. And then they attended a special viewing of the Broadway hit play Hamilton and hanging out with over, 100 lobbyists and corporate executives. That's what you do on the 10th day on the job. Good job. Who paid for the plane? Who paid for the tickets?
You taxpayers. Everybody that's paying taxes needs to contact their legislators and demand a refund from these slime balls for taking a trip to this beachside resort on your fucking dime while you're having to pay for food, electric, your children in college or whatever is going on in your life. These bastards are down there rubbing suntan lotion on each other on your damn dime.
Just a question we don't have answers yet. Well, while these Democrats having fun in the sun, lavish vacations, a 10-day, can you imagine 10 days having Greg Jarrett said, 10 days and then you go on vacation? I think I want that job. I'm going to run for office. Meanwhile, we have a crisis at our southern border and it's gotten worse. While they're on vacation, a brand new migrant caravan is forming in Honduras. This major group of migrants scheduled to depart tomorrow morning, planning to cross our borders at an unknown time and location. This coming as we are learning about a dangerous federal loophole, leaving all Americans vulnerable to violent gangs. Now, we told you the story last week. 2 high school students brutally assaulted, stabbed by 3 illegal immigrants with MS-13 ties. 2 of the 3 illegal immigrants were previously released after committing other crimes in the United States when they were detained because they were, quote, unaccompanied minors at the time of their unauthorized entry into the United States across the border. Americans, what, we're going to die because of open borders? Democrats, they...
Gonna kill him. You know those guys. He died of a heroin overdose.
I don't think your son is...
They don't seem to care. Last Friday on this program, you met mothers and fathers on their show that lost their children because of illegal immigrants that were in the justice system, and we never sent them or deported them back to their home country. President, he's working close on this to close the loopholes, actually secure the border to help save American lives. Democrats are on vacation, just like they were over Christmas, nowhere to be found. Maybe the president should offer them a tropical vacation if they can get the job done. Now, sadly, it's become abundantly clear.
As of right now, there's over 900 unidentified bodies in the morgues on the southern border. They are cremating them with mobile cremation units as fast as they can for the new bodies coming in. The ranchers that's living on the southern border have had enough. They are protecting their property and leaving the bodies, and the vultures are leading the Border Patrol to these bodies every day so they can gather them up and take them to the morgue.
We now have a far-left takeover of the Democratic Party. And that brings us tonight to our Hannity Watch on Socialism. So the Democrats' new star, New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
And by the way, her name's not Alexandria. She made that up. Her goddamn name is Sandy. Check her yearbook and you'll see her name is Sandy. She's from Westchester, New York, a very elite, high-income area. She's not from the Bronx. She's not some gangbanger. She is just a piece of shit liberal.
She's been on a media tear, moving her party further and further to the left with calls for a 70% tax rate. She wants to abolish ICE. Oh, that's not like they'll lose their jobs. I thought Democrats cared about paychecks. Also, government-mandated climate-shaming policies. In other words, they're coming for every last penny. Now, these are the same socialist ideas that are gaining momentum. Look at New York and California. 2 examples. New York City, Comrade Mayor Bill de Blasio appears to be eyeing a new far-left scheme to redistribute wealth, saying this in his recent State of the City address in New York. Take a look.
Millions of people in this city, tens of millions across the country, are boxed into lives that just aren't working for them. You haven't been paid what you deserve for all the hard work. You haven't been given the time you deserve. You're not living the life you deserve. And here is the cold, hard truth. It's no accident. It's an agenda. An agenda that's dominated our politics from Reaganomics to the Trump tax giveaway to the wealthy and corporations. Here's the truth. Brothers and sisters, there's plenty of money in the world. There's plenty of money in this city. It's just in the wrong hands.
Hey, this Comrade de Blasio wants to confiscate money. It's in the wrong hands. Don't be fooled. This isn't about compassion. It's always about power, bigger government, finding new reasons to tax and control hardworking Americans. In this case, New Yorkers. You're seeing the same thing in California. Radical leftist Governor Gavin Newsom. Well, he may be outdoing them all. He now is going to tax drinking water. This would require Californians to pay an extra tax to ensure that the water they drink is clean. Remember, this is a state with a 13.5% state income tax. This is a party devoid of moderates, and their solution to every problem is make more and take more of your hard-earned money and pretend it's for your benefit. In other words, you surrender freedom for false security, when really it's about government control over your life, all while, of course, covering up their own incompetence.